welcome to my channel. It's a new day, so we're going to do more music. But before we do the music, I have a public service announcement. That's what we'll call it. Okay? I want you to see this because, and this is how I'm going to title this, Facts Matter. This is a story that may anger you, but not for the reasons you think. And the reason why I decided to feature this is because it's an international story. It's gone international. And it's a lie. And so you need to understand that my stance, I've always told you, is that I look at life from a spiritual aspect, not a physical one. And so I understand that the devil is the author of lies. But I also know that in the world, we have lots of people who work for the devil without realizing it by telling lies. They help to spread dissension and chaos and hatred. And I'm against all of that. I'm against hatred. I'm against treating people differently. I'm against prioritizing one type of person over another. I think all people should be treated with equal amounts of love and respect, regardless of where you live, regardless of what your religion is, regardless of what your beliefs are, regardless of what your politics are, regardless of who you are. And that's the way I treat the people on my channel. I have respect for each and every one of you. And because I respect you, I want you to know that this particular story is a lie, but also to understand that this is just one of many. And this will give you a good example of how it's done. Okay? So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to make this a separate video. And then once this video is done, I'm going to do my supplemental from Sunday. Okay? So that's my plan. I'm not going to tell you anything about this video before I show it to you because I don't want to prejudice you against watching it. Okay? After it's done, you'll understand. So, this is a story about America's immigrations and customs enforcement agents arresting an Irishman. And it's caused an outrage across the world. So listen to this story.
I want to start with a story that I read, and I want to give it to you in two ways because everybody prioritizes facts using a story. Stories are what makes us human. It's what knits us together. It's what brings us together. It's what motivates us to lift up higher and also go to war. Stories are important. But how you tell the story is more important. How can two people look at exactly the same news and see it so differently? Because that's what we're experiencing right now. We're seeing things happen with illegal immigration and ICE, and we're looking at the same story. No. We think we're looking at the same facts. What we're doing is we're looking at two different stories, okay? Depending on how you use the facts, admitting some things that don't fit, overemphasizing things that do fit your narrative, we change the actual story. And this is the problem. This is why we're not listening to one another. We have to be able to find a way to hear each other. So let me give you an example of the kind of stories that you're reading and hearing about. Let me give you two examples, okay? First story. He came to America looking for something simple. He came to America for a chance. He left his home in Ireland alone to come to the land of opportunity. He arrived just as so many Irishmen arrived in this country. Almost nothing in his pocket, just a dream and a city that understands the Irish, Boston. So he gets to Boston, and like so many people before him, he finds work. He builds a life. He builds his own business. He falls in love, gets married. He builds something here in America that he couldn't build in Ireland. And it's stable. And it's home. Then one day, he's just doing his business, routine stop at Home Depot, and everything changes. Handcuffs, detention. He's transported more than 2,000 miles away to a facility in Texas, and he spends months in this room he says is filthy, little sunlight. He barely gets to see outside anymore, very small meals, uncertainty hanging over him like a fog every single day. He doesn't know what's coming next. He finally gets a chance to speak, and he says, I feel completely forgotten. I have a wife at home. She's trying to hold things together, hoping against hope that maybe the system will see him more than just a number. He has 2 dogs. His wife tells the press they're waiting for him at home, wondering when he's coming back. They wait by the door, waiting for him to come home. Well, even people in Ireland are outraged. Politicians in his homeland now speaking up, asking questions about how a man with a life built here ends up locked away, fearing riots, wondering whether anybody hears him. He's an Irishman. He came to America for a better dream. And you hear this story and you think, there but by the grace of God go I. All he was trying to do is build something, and now he's waiting behind a locked door, hoping somebody remembers that he's a human. Well, I remember he's a human, and that's why I want you to go to the GoFundMe page. It's already raised $30,000 for his legal defense. Now, you hear that story told like that, and I can see why you might be upset. But now let me add in facts and tell you the same tale, different story, but only because I'm adding the facts. Let me tell you, as Paul Harvey would say, the rest of the story. The man in the story, and by the way, this is a real story. This is in the news today. The man who was detained by ICE didn't just arrive and build a life, but that is the story you're getting if you read anything from the left. Okay? What I just gave you is the story you're reading if you only read things from the left. According to federal authorities, he entered the country under a 90-day visa waiver, and he never left. And he has remained here in the United States for more than 15 years beyond his legal status. Now, he didn't know. Nobody did anything. No. They tried. An immigration judge issued a final order of removal. They went and they picked him up. Yes, at a Home Depot. Officials say he was offered immediate return to Ireland, but he chose to stay in detention instead. Well, now the Irish are very upset because he should be here. Well, let me add some more facts. This is the part that rarely makes the first headline. Why did he leave Ireland? Was it truly for the land of opportunity? Or was it possible that he was trying to escape a life that he already had in Ireland? You see, back in Ireland, there were drug-related charges, including allegations of intent to supply and obstruction of a police officer. A court sought a bench warrant after he failed to appear. Okay. We leave out all those facts. And sympathy is now gathering here in the United States. And there's fundraising campaigns. There's radio interviews, emotional appeals. And 2 voices have surfaced that change the picture a bit, but you're not hearing about these 2 voices. And the 2 voices are his twin daughters in Ireland. The twins, who are now about to turn 19. They were 18. It's an interesting number, 18, because when their father abandoned them, they were 18 months old, leaving their mother, Margaret Maggie Morrissey, to raise his 2 daughters all alone. They never saw him again, never received a dime in child support. Dad just disappeared. Until they heard from him briefly after his detention. He's not a victim of circumstance. He was a father who abandoned his children. And then only when he was arrested did he reach out to his children, maybe hoping against hope that the children would throw sympathy his way. And while the social media posts all are talking about his dogs waiting at home, the daughters reminded the world there were children waiting for him to come home their whole lives as well. Same man, same facts. But now the second story with all of the facts asks a different question. Is this about injustice or is this consequences delayed? How do we get to a place to where we can agree on anything? See, we don't have the facts in common. And when facts are intentionally omitted, the story changes. What changed between these two stories here, not the facts, just which facts come first, which facts are delayed, which facts are admitted for a while, or maybe ever. Because the facts, the way you position the facts, allows you, a good storyteller, to control the emotions. Which emotions are you priming before the context arrives? What I did in the first story was activate your compassion first. I wanted to make sure that you understood this guy is just an immigrant, like all these thousands and thousands of immigrants that are Irish that came over to Boston. Story 2 activates accountability first. Now, both are real and both are persuasive, and that is exactly the point. You don't have to lie about to change public opinion. You don't. You only have to decide what the audience feels first. Okay, so let me give you...
Okay, that's it. I don't want to bother with the rest of that. It's not relevant to my point. You see, the reason why I'm showing you this and the reason why I want to talk about it is because I think it's vitally important that we understand that there are forces in the world that are trying to manipulate our emotions. And we, as rational human beings, have to fight to resist the urge to fall for the emotional part of the story and ask, what am I missing? What is missing from the story? What do I not know? And to seek the rest of the facts, if we can, to find out what's really happening. I mean, there are people donating to this guy's GoFundMe because they think that he's been wrongly treated. And they're angry at the U.S. government. Even the Irish people are angry at the U.S. government for what they've done to this poor man. Until you find out there's a little bit more to the story than what they told. Why they leave that out, I'll leave that to you to decide. But they left it out. And it completely changes your viewpoint of how this situation is being handled and how it should be handled. And I have tried in my life, I'm not perfect, no one is, but I have tried to put aside all the emotion and the instantaneous reaction to news and look at the facts and try to figure out what's going on before I decide whether this is right or wrong, or whether this is something I should get involved in or not, whether this is something I should be upset about or not. Okay? And on my channel, I try to make this a place where you can get away from all this because it's just, we're surrounded by it. We're completely surrounded by it. Differing factions all vying for your attention, all vying for your to stir up your emotions and get you upset and get you to the point where you're looking at other human beings as the enemy instead of fellow man. I don't want that on my channel. I've actually had, and I'm not complaining and I'm not asking for help, okay? I'm just giving you facts. I've actually had people come to my channel, watch one video, and then say, this man is a homophobe. Don't give him any views. I don't know how they got that. I haven't ever said anything about that. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I have a lesbian couple living next door to me. They have 2 little kids that they had through in vitro fertilization. We love those kids. They call me Grandpa, which I think is cool. I love the girls. They're wonderful people. I have absolutely nothing against them personally. Yes, I'm a Christian. I know what the Bible says, but I also know that the Bible says I'm to love everyone and to forgive everyone. Okay? And if I'm going to point a finger at them and say, you're committing a sin according to the Bible, then I have to point 2 fingers back at myself because I'm doing the same thing. You understand? We're all sinners. We've all fallen short of the glory of God. There is not one of us that is deserving of salvation. It is purely by grace that God says, I'm going to take you and make you my child. But while we're on this earth, we need to fight hard to get to a point where we see other people as human beings, not as an opposition, not as an enemy, not as someone who I disagree with, but someone who is important, someone who matters, someone whose life has value. That's how I view each and every one of you that comes to my channel. And I hope that you will do that as well, not just for me, but for everyone that's on the channel. I sometimes see comments where people will say, and I'm not complaining, this is typical internet stuff, but it just irks me. Someone will say something about a singer and someone else will say, how could you say that? She's terrible. Well, why do you say that? Why don't you just not say anything? If you disagree with them, just say, I disagree. I don't think she's that good. But you don't have to say, I think you're stupid because you would believe she's good. You see, it's a matter of respect. It's a matter of caring. It's a matter of wanting to treat other people the same way you would like to be treated. And that's why I did this video. Because you need to understand that you're constantly being manipulated from every single direction, from the right, from the left, from the top, from the bottom. Call it whatever you want to call it. It's all manipulation. And it's all designed to get into your feelings, to get into your emotions, so that you no longer think rationally and you no longer think like a human being. Okay. I think enough said. I'm going to move on now. I'm going to make this as a separate video. I'm going to make a video as much as I can of the requests that were made on Sunday that I didn't get to. And by the way, I want you to know that what happened on Sunday was entirely my fault. I didn't know it, but I had a VPN running. I do genealogy work, and for some reason, the Swedish National Archives is blocked in America. I can't get to it. And so I use a VPN to get around that, and I connect through the Netherlands, and then I can see it fine, and I can do my work. I did some research on Saturday, but I don't remember using the VPN, but somehow it was running when I got up in the morning. Apparently it ran all night, and when I got up in the morning, it was still running, and when I started my live stream, it was all being streamed through the VPN, and that's what caused all those delays and all the lag and everything that you guys were complaining about. So I have double checked to make sure I don't have VPN running now, okay? And so I'm going to go ahead and do the reactions that I promised you I would do. This is what I call the supplemental. I saw one person who said, after the troubles he had in the live, his supplemental is going to be something. What was the word he used? I don't remember now. Hopping or something like that, or fire. Okay. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. I don't know. You'll be the judge of that. But anyway, I just wanted to share this with you before we get into the music. Okay? I pray for you, for every single one of you, that God will be with you and that he'll walk with you and talk with you and that you will become his friend and that he will hold your hand and protect you and guide you and that you will understand the love that he has for you. And I pray that for every single person you love as well. So, this is the Vietnam Era Vet, out.